It's a beautiful day, and I am glad you are here. So, today I'm going to talk to you about a very important subject, which is mindset. And specifically, I'm going to talk to you about some secrets to identify mindset blockages and to crush them forever. So, here we go. I'm going to start with a story that is really how I learned about this. Started way back in high school. I ran cross country and had a fantastic coach, Coach Tom McCracken. And when we joined the team, this was back in the mid to late 70s, already dating myself. We had already been state champions. And so to join the team, you had to meet certain standards and make certain commitments to meet those standards so that we could maintain our state champion status in the coming future years. So you joined the team, and that was the expectation, was to win at all costs. One of those things, for example, was a minimum of running 1,000 miles in the summer to prepare for the season. Pretty amazing. That's somewhere around 18 miles a day, 7 days a week. So one of the first things that Coach McCracken had us do, especially if we were freshmen, is we would read the book called Psycho-Cybernetics. This is by Maxwell Maltz. It's a fantastic book about visualization, among other things. It really teaches you how to understand how your brain works and how it is essentially like a heat-seeking missile. So if you have a goal, and let's say in this case with cross country, the goal is not necessarily to win. You may not be at that point yet where you could win individually. But maybe there's someone on another team or someone on your own team who in the next race you want to beat. So that's the goal. And the next race is at a particular place, and you perhaps know that place, and so you can, in your head, you can visualize the different segments of the race. And so what Psycho-Cybernetics teaches is those techniques as to visualizing in advance of how you are going to run that race and absolutely crush that person that you want to beat. It's a very powerful technique. I highly recommend this book. That's my first secret for you, is get the book, Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. He has, on Amazon, he has a new anniversary edition that's very nice. It's leather bound. It's the original text, and I believe even with a leather bound, I think it's under $20, so it's a fantastic value. So that's the first secret, number one, that I learned. Number two, more recently in November, I attended Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within, UPW, the most powerful experience I have ever had in my life. And I've been following Tony Robbins since 1986 and have been transformed many times over, but this was all powerful. And one of the things that I learned from Tony was how to truly crush mindset issues as they emerge in your head. You know, we get into our head, and as Tony says, when you get into your head, you're dead. We really need to be in our hearts and operate from that depth. But we all get in our heads, and that's when the demons strike us. They know that that's when we are weak. And so one of the techniques I'm going to teach you in a minute is how to eradicate those demons, that enemy, when they get into your head and start really messing with your ability to accomplish something, to perform, to achieve, and so on. This technique here is it is a strategy, and it's simply about eradicating unfounded fear by utilizing psychocybernetics, as I said, which is the first secret, and visualization techniques. And by creating, this is the other great secret that I learned in Tony Robbins' UPW, is actually this was my own creation, I should say, that came out of the training that we took, and that is it's what I did, and it worked beautifully. I created an avatar, and I actually used a photo that helped me to visualize the exact look of this avatar. And for me, it was a Viking. So a Viking warrior. If you can imagine that for a moment, that was my avatar. And that avatar was on this shoulder here. The demon would be sitting on this shoulder here, the enemy. Now, what happens is, in a coaching session that I would do with you, and that I will do with you, if you are interested, I will do this complimentary. We'll take it one level deeper than this short exercise, because I only have so much time that you're going to really want to listen to this. But if you find this appealing and helpful and valuable, then get in touch with me, and I'll give you that information in a moment, and we'll have a complimentary coaching session, and I'll go through the strategy with you so that you can be prepared to eradicate and crush your enemy at any time that they emerge. So the first step in that is that I'm going to take you through is I'm going to ask you a series of questions. We're going to identify some of these mindset issues, and then we're going to create your avatar. Of course, mine is the Viking warrior. It sits right here. And then the second step in that is essentially to go about your business. And when the enemy emerges, the first step is to acknowledge it. Just stop what you're doing and acknowledge that this enemy is in your head, banging at you. And it's kind of like a bee or a gnat just driving you crazy. You can no longer concentrate. They're just trying to screw with you, and it may be affecting. And through the series of questions, we will both identify if it, how it's affecting you. Is it affecting your confidence? Is it affecting your ability to perform? Is it affecting your ability to be able to carry on the tasks of the day? Is it affecting your attitude? All of these things are negative, correct? And so what I've learned through performance training is that even if you are held up by this for even 5 minutes, but for many of us, you could be held up for days to where you're just getting the beat down. We've all had this happen. And so here's the technique that I'm going to teach you, just the quickie, is that when the enemy starts to attack you in your head, the first thing you do, like I said, is you stop and you acknowledge. And then I want you to sit back and just sort of try not to be too frustrated. You will be, and you'll be angry to a point. But just try to think about what this character is doing to you, how it's affecting you, and what it means. And of course, this is all going to be pretty negative. Once you've done that, then what I want you to do is, if you're angry, I want you to be angry. That's a good place to be, because if you're going to be the Viking warrior right here, your avatar, you want to be in fight mode, in war mode, right? So be angry. And then what I want you to do is use that anger. Be real about it. Use that anger And in my case, my Viking warrior would grab this beautiful sword that I actually have in my office so I could just look at it. I could grab it if I wanted to, literally. And that's even more powerful. And I would pick up this sword and I would imagine the enemy across from me, and I would take off his head. And I'd go, "See ya, buddy. See ya." Boom. Crush. You're gone. And then I'd start laughing. And instantly, I felt like I was in a power state. I went from a state of frustration and anger and being held up with what I was doing, lowered my confidence. And in an instant of doing that, my state changed to one of being powerful, confident, and ready to execute whatever it is I was working on at that time. Now, let me tell you, when I first started doing that, it definitely immediately changed my state and put me back on course. Now, the reality is, when I first started this, 2 or 3 hours later, maybe 2 or 3 times a day, that enemy would reemerge in my head, and I'd have to go through that technique again. But it's fun. You will enjoy doing this. Trust me. And just do it as realistically as you possibly can. See your avatar. See, I like to use a photo because it makes it very clear to me. And holding that sword makes it very real, right? So try to model that as best as you can in your example of what you're going to do. And do the slashing again. And I noticed that in the first week, like I said, it was about 2 to 3 times a day that the enemy would reemerge in my head. After a couple of weeks, I noticed that it went down to twice, and then once. And then he was gone forever. Just gone. I didn't even notice it at first. And then a few days went by where the enemy did not appear in my head any longer. And I realized it at one moment during one day, and I was like, when have I seen that guy? And it was days. And I was just like, score, baby. And that's when I knew how effective this technique is. So I hope you got a lot of value from that. This is really how I earned it. I was going to, really the final step in this process is to give you a case study of how it really works. But the case study in this case was me, because I'm the one that earned it. I'm the one that went through these experiences both in high school and currently. So hope you got great value out of that. If you want more, I've got more for you. Especially we can go through some of the psycho-cybernetics teachings and pick up that book. That's a secret I have to offer you in addition to what I just taught you. You will never regret having that book. It is one of the most powerful books I've ever read, and I follow those techniques still today in everything I do. It's a great performance booster. So with that, let me give you my information. If you would like some additional coaching, I would be so very happy to offer that to you, complimentary. So check me out or email me rather, at jhensel, Hensel, that's jhensel, one word, at humanperformanceperfection.com. All one word, jhensel at humanperformanceperfection.com. Again, nice to meet you today. Hope this is very valuable for you. Valuable enough that you'll want more. What's next? And you'll contact me and we'll talk about it, and I'll walk you through a great coaching session. And I look forward to meeting you. Have a fantastic day. Crush the enemy.